Hello, everybody. Look at all these wonderful people coming in. Hello, hello. Wow. Wow, Sierra's here. Katie's here, Mailing's here. We got Jessica. Hold on, I'm just scanning the room and making sure that I got all my speakers in. Spot. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Carol. All right. Melinda, Kathy, Suze, thank you all for.
There we go.
All right, I'm gonna ask everybody if they can just unmute. Well, all the co-authors, unmute yourself and say hello just really quickly to everybody who's coming in.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome, welcome.
Celebrating.
Welcome. So good to have you.
In here.
All right, everybody's still coming in. I see a bunch of people just trying to get everybody in, and I will just ask everybody if they can mute themselves for a second while I just kind of welcome you all into the room. We are super excited that you're here. It's really a special day for us. It is the equinox. It is the birth of our book, Fierce Awakenings, Calling in Courage and Confidence to Walk Life's Spiral Path. I'm Jen Balco. I am the lead co-author, and I've gathered up 11 other amazing women who were both courageous and willing to be vulnerable to share the chapters of their stories, right? One of their life, one part of a walk along a spiral path that we are all walking, whether we want to know that or not, but we are all somewhere on this spiral path, either going inwards to the center of ourselves or coming out and around and going upwards. And this has been a real spiral path journey in itself, really, quite honestly. We have, well, where do I start? I mean, this idea fell out of the sky literally to me in October of 2021. And I received a calling that was like, you know, bring them together and let them tell their stories. And I actually denied that for a really long time. And I didn't really think I was going to do it. And then in July of 2022, I signed a contract with Red Thread Publishing. Sierra is here in the room in gallery, if you see her. And then I did nothing else for months. Didn't really actually still believe I was going to lead a group of women through a writing, editing, and publishing process. And then in January, I started to invite everybody in, and people said yes. And then suddenly we had a group and we were 12. Some of us knew each other before we walked into the room. Some of us didn't. And really in the end, we became friends, we became co-authors, and then we became sisters. And now we are a group of 12 walking the spiral path together and bringing to life our beautiful book. So that's all I'm going to say for right now. I'm going to let everybody kind of just say hello and introduce themselves. I'm going to just take you a little bit through the day. We're going to have just a really short conversation about what this book has meant to each co-writer, co-author, and how it's deepened their own journey on the spiral path. And if there's something that they're hoping that the reader gets out of it. You know, what's the big wish here? Hello, everybody. If you're just joining in, if you can just mute yourself, we're going to just we're doing a recording and we're going to broadcast this later. So we just kind of want to get the quality of sound good. But I'm just going to go around the room. Oh, I didn't finish. And then we're going to celebrate a little. There's going to be a little bit of movement and kind of a victory lap for all of us, but just not us, for all of you who are in the room today are really important to us. You've been with us, cheering us on in the background and coming along with us. So we're going to just kind of celebrate all together. but I don't want to ruin all the surprise. So Ellison, you're first on my screen. Come unmute yourself and say hello.
Good morning, afternoon, evening to everybody. I'm Ellison James. I live near the Seattle area, and my chapter is Crone, Learning to Dance with Death, where I shared my experience as a death doula for several decades.
Joanna.
Hello, beautiful people and lovely souls. It's Joanna Lynn Stuffle here, and I am from Northwest Ohio, and my chapter was entitled The Sacred Pause, and it was about how I fell and broke my ankle first day of classes.
Well, I'm next on my screen, so I'm Jen, and my chapter is called The Wind That Whispers to Me, and it's about how things just come and drop into my lap sometimes. Shauna, you're next.
Hello and greetings from the beautiful Pacific Northwest. My name is Shauna Burkholder. My chapter is entitled Journey to Wholeness. And essentially, it's my story of how I blew up my life and went on the road to find myself and to run away from my past.
Roxana, Roxy, you're up.
Hello, everybody. I'm Roxana. Thank you all for coming this morning. I so appreciate every one of you. My story is allowing grief, listening for love. And it's a journey of grief, my relationship with my mom as she laid there dying. It's about discovering my bulls. And really, it's about discovering really who I am and what I'm here to do. So thank you.
April.
Hi, everybody. I'm April Lee, and I live in Berkeley, California. My chapter is called Mirrors, and it's about meeting my biological father for the first time and learning to own my gifts.
Sarah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Hoskin. Thank you all for being here. It's amazing to just look at the screen and see all these beautiful faces that are smiling with us. So thank you. My chapter is The Spiral Path, and it's really it's the story of my first journey when I had to let go of the path being linear and drop into the truth that every path is the spiral path. And it's just the journey of how I was called to that and receiving that beautiful wisdom.
Hi, everyone. It is so great to have you all here and helping us celebrate this amazing accomplishment. I'm Kathy Gates, and I'm coming to you from Central Pennsylvania. And my chapter is entitled From Life's Fire to Life's Gifts. And it is about kind of taking a year off of my life. I called it the year of Kathy for self-care and accidentally kind of finding my power and that I was so much more than I thought during that year.
And we have 4 other co-authors who aren't with us today. We are busy women with jobs and families and in multiple time zones. So I just want to, I'll show you the excerpts from them. We do have them queued up. We've got Josette Mills, who wrote the chapter Pulling the Plug on People Pleasing, which was a great chapter about when you can say no and how you can do that and how you can practice saying no, which was something I needed exactly the moment I read that. Nicole, I see Nicole in the room. Nicole Fabian is How I Had One Boy. And it's a really heartbreaking story about how she lost one of her students and how that impacted her as a teacher and as a human and as an employee. And it's really a heart-wrenching story. So thank you to Nicole for writing that and being brave there. Wendy Peterman. Wendy is right now hopefully not fighting a fire somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, but she is probably on fire duty today. So her story is about, is called Paradigm Shift, My Neuroatypical Journey to Self-Awareness. And Wendy is really speaking to the heart of, you know, the masking that we do as women and what happens when you're neurodivergent in a world that doesn't always welcome neuro spiciness and divergency. So we've got Wendy, and then Susan Smith, who I don't see in the room as well. She wasn't feeling well today, so I'm not sure if she'll pop in later or not, but her chapter is Searching for the American Dream. And she tells a story about how she had to leave America behind for a while to actually find the American dream out in the Emirates. And then she also talks about single parenthood, poverty, and how she, you know, raising yourself up off the bootstraps is not always easy in the American way of life. So just celebrating all of them. And I'm going to invite now our co-authors to unmute. And I'm just gonna, you know, popcorn around the room. What has this book meant to you? What has being part of this 9-month journey meant as well as a writer and now as a published author, as a woman? Whoever wants to start.
I'll start.
Go ahead.
Sarah.
Funny that. What I've been really struck by, especially in like the last 24 hours, is that this has been a collaborative journey from the get-go. And that I've been called forth and called in, and in turn, like able and willing to do things that I've longed to do or wanted to do for years. But on my own, I would just always have my excuses to hang back. And so to be in collaboration with this amazing group of the 12 of us I just had to keep stepping forward, taking the next step, doing what I said and committed to doing. And I think that's been the biggest gift, is that we are not alone on this spiral path. Whatever the journey is, whether it's named a collaborative project or not, there are always people walking with us, in front of us, behind us, beside us. And that for me has just been the greatest gift and the greatest receiving for me, and feels like that what I can now offer to others as a genuine invitation and a genuine reflection.
We do this a lot in our space. We bring our little emoji wands and we kind of cheer each other on. We've been doing co-working calls and monthly chats now for months. So thank you, Sarah, for that. Somebody want to jump off on Sarah's?
Yeah. I'll go.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Sarah, because Sarah just summed up how I was feeling. And this path has been one I didn't realize this particular story that came out. And it was a path of being held by this container and allowing that story to be birthed. And what I want to say is that, just as Sarah said, is that if you are on a journey, wherever you are in your life, doesn't matter what age you are, that yes, you have that space, that time, that support from all the people around you and from all of us authors, but there is that space that you can feel brave enough, have that courage to step forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Roxy. I've got multiple ones that I bring out. Who's next? Who wants to speak? Passing you the talking stick,
I'll go next.
please.
So for me, it was initially it started about healing a deep childhood wound I had about writing in particular, but using my voice. And so it was a transformative place to realize, held in this incredible container, and be witnessed, how I know that it's powerful to be witnessed, but then to experience it on this level and to see that what had been told to me as a child was my flaws actually turn out to be the gifts. And so this was a place for that to incubate. And then, the educational wound of, that's not how you write, that's not how you do things, to heal that was crazy. And then to really just anchor in the power of crone in our culture and be able to express that out was fabulous. And it's just a completely different experience in the container, a collaborative container. To do it on our own, like Sarah said, there's always plenty of excuses. But when you're standing naked before a group and being held in such a precious way, then you can really, share the deepest parts of yourself. And there's nothing like that. So thank you.
Next. Shall I touch you with the magic wand?
So I'll jump in. I love following Ellison. Right. This experience is very transformative. I wouldn't necessarily label it a fierce awakening, but for me, it was an awakening. I have been telling myself for decades, someday I will write a book. And my picture of writing a book, for some reason, was along the lines of from when I was young, Stephen King sitting at his old typewriter, pecking away, for 50 hours a day, in the dark of the night, and having to create something, and then sending it off to publisher after publisher and getting rejected. I couldn't move past that image. I didn't understand how, and I was afraid to be visible. So those two things were really holding me back from basically putting myself out there, having a book, which again was a lifetime dream of mine. So I was so excited to find this group because a couple of different reasons. It provided the how, right? This is how you do it. And it provided the support because everybody was very vulnerable and very transparent, even if it was like the technology, how to make it. We supported each other. My first draft of my chapter hated it because I was trying to force a story that I thought I wanted to tell versus the one that was inside of me that needed to come out. And so having the collaborative opportunities to kind of talk through it a little bit for that aha moment. And then when I did sit down, it just flowed. And so that for me is part of the awakening. Just as been mentioned, it's a path. We walk it. It's not straight, and we don't do it alone. So this has just been a great experience.
I'll go next.
Kathy. Oh, Joanna, Kathy, you choose.
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Joanna.
Oh, I guess I'll go. I will echo Shauna in that this has been a dream for mine since I was 9 years old, that I wanted to be an author when I took like a young writers course. But I always thought it was like, I had a different picture too. I was like, I'll write my memoirs when I'm old and gray. And I also like had a lot of anxiety about like looking at self-publishing or that like shopping a manuscript around too. Like I had that idea of like that's what it means to be a published author. And it's a struggle journey and it's really hard. And there's times when it's not fun and you have writer's block and all of those things. but in coming into this project and coming into a collaborative, I say like it's a way that I've been able to dip my toes into this. But I will say this, like being through this process, it wasn't dipping the toes anymore. It was jumping full on in, and that piece of like fierceness, we all came into this, and just as Sarah was saying, that like we were pushing ourselves beyond, some of those limits that we, could only dream about maybe. And now here we are.
So I'll go next. I think for me, one of the biggest gifts I got out of this is just how powerful our stories are and how relatable they are. We're writing these stories that are really personal to us, but actually they apply to so many people. And I found myself in everybody else's story. And I think one of the most intimate things that we can do is to be seen. And this book is just a way to see each other and to come together with really powerful, relatable stories. So I appreciate it and thank all of you.
I'll go next.
Please, April.
Wow. So I've been wanting to write a memoir for a very long time, but I didn't know when or how it was going to happen. And I met Jen through synchronistic events, starting with Bernadette Pleasant, who is actually on this call. Then I met Hev Drummond, who is, I don't think, here today, but and then to Jen. And so through these wise women, I landed in this group, and my story just poured out of me. I was on a plane. I had met Jen in Barcelona, and I was flying home, and the story just poured out. I didn't even know if the story would be for this book, but it dawned on me that it was really time for the story to be told, and not just told, but for me to own it myself. It'd been a long time coming. So getting a little choked up here, but and writing and sharing and publishing with this group of women has just been just a very special, unique experience. And what I was really reminded of throughout the process was that we don't ever walk the path alone. I can feel like that so much of the time, but we're always in it together.
Thank you, everyone. And I'll wrap us up with my intention from go on this was to always support the 11 other women in the room every step of the way. Whether we sell hundreds or thousands of copies, to me, it doesn't even matter, because what matters is that every one of us have shown up. We've shown our gifts, we brought our stories, and that is, as Brene Brown always says, the most courageous and vulnerable thing you could ever do. And as my mentor, Bernadette Pleasant, who was one of our first reviewers, said, may we never know how far our ripple goes. And with that, I'm just going to read the dedication to our book. This collaborative book is dedicated to all the women everywhere, embracing their fierce awakenings and stepping forward with courage, confidence, and creative chutzpah. May our spiral paths intertwine, and may we walk towards and onwards together in sisterhood. With hands on our hearts, we extend gratitude to all of our mentors, guides, teachers, alive and in spirit, who helped us to see our own next steps as visionaries and waymakers. We are in part who we are now because of your grace, patience, and wisdom. So as we prepare, as the authors kind of pull up their excerpts, I made us a little birthday book video. Please bear with me. I am not at all a video editor, but this is a little bit of our journey from the beginning of the year until now. Hope you can see this. Feel free to dance.
We can't hear it.
You can't hear it. Hold on. I don't know why you can't hear it. You can't hear it? Really? It says that I'm sharing the screen. You can't hear it?
Somewhere there's a button that when you share screen, you also have to click share audio. So
All right, hold on. Let me try it again. I must have done that wrong. I had it all squared up.
It's right in the I think on the bottom left is there a little button.
Oh yeah, share sound too. Yeah, you know what? I had that all set up before. Hold on. All right, we'll just start that all again. Hold on. Just bear
That's
with
one
me.
of the great things. We can always do a redo, right?
Yes, that is true. Hold on one second.
And Jen is our queen of great music. Gotta hear
Oh,
it.
this one is you know, it's happy birthday. Can you hear it now? So that's our little happy birthday as we as this book no longer becomes ours, but it becomes all of yours, and it becomes the book of every woman who needs these words right now. So shall we share our words? Sarah, you're going to go first. We're going to go in chapter order for this part.
Excerpt from the spiral path. To walk a spiral path is actually a feminine pilgrimage. We do not need to walk far or fast. Rather, we are called on and reminded to walk slowly, deliberately, and deeply wherever we are. While this spiral path and these sacred sites have actually provided me with both the map and the pathway I needed to connect with my true self, the spiral path is actually available for all of us, both within and outside of ourselves. It is both an inner and an outer journey, accessible simply through the asking.
Excerpt from Journey to Wholeness. Without being tied to a job or a relationship, I realized I could live anywhere I wanted. I was free to move, but where? Had no idea. So rather than buying a house or renting an apartment, I put my belongings in storage. The idea to travel came when I read this statistic in a long since forgotten blog post. The average adventure traveler is no longer a 28-year-old male, but a 47-year-old female. She wears a size 12 dress. I found a reason that got me up and moved me forward. Yes, I was jobless, spouseless, and homeless. Yet instead of afraid, I felt free. There were no more outside influences to distract me. Each mile that I drove forward left the stressed out, unfulfilled person I was in my wake. With each town and experience, I grew braver and felt a renewed sense of purpose. I looked up into the rearview mirror. It was with the resolve that I would not repeat past mistakes. The road ahead held the hope and promise of a fulfilling life.
Joanna.
This is an excerpt from the Sacred Pause and part of my journal entry that I wrote. Week 5 of recovery, Tuesday, September 19th, 2006. Dear God, I read Psalms 139 today. My reflection on this is that even when I left from active participation in the Catholic Church, I could not hide from you or your calling. You called me to Siena. I even know this now 5 weeks into this dreadful experience. You have been with me like always. I can't hide from you as much as I try. I'm sorry for cursing you out so many times about this condition. I know you can sympathize with the fact that something was ignited that night that I went to Mass with my roommate Denise, the eve of the fall. I had embraced St. Dominic's trailblazing spirit from the story in the homily. I felt the reigniting of the Holy Spirit's flame in my heart. That is why I was so crushed when the fall happened. I wanted to get back to my ministry calling. Yes, thanks to Mom for making my 21st birthday as special as it could be, all things considered. It wasn't the 21st birthday that I had envisioned, like going out and drinking with my college friends. I guess 22 will have to be the big party. Until tomorrow, your loving daughter, Joanna.
Our next chapter is from Josette. Just give me a second to find it. Josette's not with us today, so let me just test it and see if you can hear it. Yeah.
One of the things that I knew for sure is that my first step was to decide what I wanted, because things couldn't stay the way that they were. And I knew that meant that I had to take off the Superwoman cape that I wore like a badge of honor, because it was not only very exhausting, it was killing me, literally.
Okay, let me come back in. Roxy.
This is an excerpt of my story, Allowing Grief, Listening for Love. It's a cloudy, cold day. I stand alone, looking out at the calm, majestic, deep blue sky and ocean, listening to the waves gently lapping on the shore, feeling the white sand between my toes. A deep sense of calm comes into my heart, and I begin to wonder, what would it be like to walk in the water and leave this world? Today's my mom's birthday. Last week was the last time we spoke. She had called to tell me that she'd been admitted to the hospital due to heart issue and was scheduled for exploratory surgery. Our conversation felt off. I could sense that she was worried about her upcoming surgery because she asked me about my future and the changes that I was making. She knew that I had been on a path of healing from the tidbits of information I had previously shared. Typically, our discussions were always centered around her wants and needs, rarely about me. In retrospect, I wish that I'd shared my journey into healing in the world of the crystal alchemy bowls.
Thank you. Next up, we have Nicole. Just give me 1 second.
To this day, the word data sits like a sour bubble in my throat when I say it. The question of why data is more important than following my intuition and gut feeling of what a student really needed will cast a shadow over my grief and make me doubt myself, my teaching abilities, and the entire education system for years to come.
Next up, we have Wendy also. So hold on 1 second. Let me remember to share the screen. Hold on. I've got to jump between a lot of different open windows right now. Just give me 1 second to get that.
To me, childhood was characterized by a rich fantasy life. My mind was always full of pictures. My body effervesced with intense feelings like joy, fascination, and curiosity, especially in nature. I could read fluently and do basic math problems before entering kindergarten, just from hanging out with books and my parents. I thought my vivid, deeply immersive experience of life was normal. It's only when I started to hear the reactions of the adults in my world that I learned I was anything but normal, and they had worn themselves out trying to make me so.
Kathy.
This is an excerpt from Life's Fire to Life's Gifts. I'm not sure if it was courage or just a feeling of total defeat that motivated me. But 1 month after my dad died, I asked my husband to move out and I filed for a divorce. With that choice made, like my mind wandered to the next logical step. Now what? Somewhere just out of earshot, an inner fire was quietly calling me, and my body was begging me to lay down my burdens as I left my ancestors, that listened to them weaving their sacred song into the fabric of my soul. I struggled to let go of all these defenses that I had already outgrown. But somewhere deep inside of me, this urgency for a grand gesture, some kind of sacred ritual began, and I started listening to that.
April.
This is an excerpt from my chapter called Mirrors. One night when I was in my late 20s, I came home from work to the apartment I shared with my boyfriend, a saxophonist. I walked in the door, and my boyfriend said, "There's a message for you on the machine from a guy who sounds like a jazz musician. He says he's your father." I mustered up the courage to call him back. He said he was on a new path and wanted to connect. My father drove up from Los Angeles to the San Francisco Bay Area to visit me. As we looked into each other's eyes for the first time on my front porch, it was like looking into a mirror. I saw a reflection of myself in my father, a mix of Chinese and Japanese heritage, a rare occurrence given the historical conflicts between China and Japan that I'd never experienced while being raised by my maternal Chinese grandparents. In that moment, I felt like I finally understood myself in a way I never had before.
We have Susan up next. Sorry, that's not Susan. Give me one.
It is time for a new American dream. Envisioning my future, my Speak Trauma Foundation, and my documentary filmmaking, I'm drawn towards providing agency through storytelling for older adults. I want to raise awareness about income inequality and confront the system that has created millions of vulnerable people in America.
Ellison. Ellison, you're muted.
Thank you. This is from Crone Learning to Dance with Death. I stood at the front of the classroom at the unemployment office, taking it all in, hearing the clapping, seeing the huge smiles on people's faces, noticing the teacher's mouth still gaping in surprise. Pay attention to this, a little whisper urged. Nobody gets a standing ovation at unemployment. Little did I know at that moment what had taken place or how it might change my life. After all, my life was pretty good, wasn't it? I had a safe roof over my head, a good car to drive, and meaningful work that I enjoyed and was well suited for. That's it.
And I walk us out of the book. And this is from my chapter called The Wind That Whispers to Me. Hold on, I just lost that. I did as I was told. I stopped. I puzzled over what to do next. Should I break the rules and keep going? What happens if I get caught breaking the rules? How could I not break the rules if I wanted to explore the world the way I wanted to explore the world? Who made these rules anyway? Important choices had to be made. Everything I wanted, freedom, adventure, independence, seemed to be dangling right in front of me. Then I got scared. How would I take care of myself? What if I got hurt? Where would I sleep? How would I know if I was going the right way? Then I got hungry. It was the rumble in my tummy that turned the choice-making options into a practical decision. Life can wait. The world will still be there. Go home and eat. Oh, I lost mine. Hold on, too many buttons going on. And that's what I kind of want to leave us with a little bit. We're going to, do something fun now. There's going to be a drum roll. I'm going to put the link. I'm going to put the screenshot in so you could see the Amazon page that we are on. But this is what our book is about. It's about making choices and going around the turn in the spiral path. And how do you know when it's yours to turn outwards or inwards? And like everybody here has said, we are all doing this together. So come join us on the spiral path. Let me show you our book live in Amazon right now. I'm going to put the link in. We're going to have, I might not be able to do both at the same time. If I can do a drum roll at the same time, I'm going to show you this first. But if you'd like to join us on the spiral path, and can you see that? It's awful.
Woohoo! Yes, we can see it.
This is our fantastic book. We have the special price for launch at 99 cents for the digital book. And we have the paper book out also today. Thank goodness to see everyone for that. That was a fun experiment in the 11th hour. But the paper book is also out. If you are outside of the US and not using Amazon.com, I will put in the chat in a few minutes where you can go buy that in your country. The paperbacks in other countries still may not be released. That is happening. It's just not all happening in the same exact moment. So that is what we're going to do. And let me see if I might have to stop sharing in this, but as we go into this, let me just kind of bang and clap our hands as we celebrate that we are book mamas at the moment. So let me find where that is. I've got too many things that are open. Just give me 1 second. I did have this better plan. Oh, goodness. Wow.
I'll take that pause and just say thank you all for coming and witnessing us. It's a big deal to be witnessed. So thank you.
And I'll echo thank you for all those that we're seeing in the comments that have purchased too, because that's another level of witnessing for us. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And thank you, ladies, for jumping in and taking over while I have tech things. But here we go. Drum
That's
roll.
collaboration.
We got each other's back all the way through. Drum roll. Seconds. This is the longest drum roll that I could find. But as we do that, I do want us to just now take a minute. We're going to have a few minutes for questions, but I want us to take a victory lap, all of us together. For those of you who have co-written a book, you have done this wonderful thing of bringing a book to life. For those of you standing right in the circle just around us here in this room, and for those of you watching this video, I want our celebration to be your celebration as well. Many of you have been very big support systems for us as we've moved through life, and we wouldn't be here without all of you. And as much as this is our victory, it's also a moment for you to reflect on how far you've come in your own spiral path. Where were you just in January? Where were you 10 years ago? Where were you 20, 30, 40 years ago? Where are you now? Where are you going? And how can we walk together? So I'm going to play us just a little song, and I want you to really feel into how far you've come, wherever you are, wherever you're going next. Can you hear this? Music's coming up. Allow yourself to drop in. Notice what's present right in this present current moment. Feeling a sense of achievement. Noticing where achievement falls on your body. For me, I'm feeling it right in my heart center. Feeling a sense of gratitude. Filling your body with some joy, light. Beginning to add any kind of movement you want to add to this expression of confidence. Maybe it's just a little gentle sway. Maybe you want to take up some space today. Just look around the room for a moment and look at all these beautiful people gathered with us today. Take your victory lap. Wherever you are. Feel yourself standing on the mountaintop. You've climbed a summit. You've done this big thing called whatever it is, writing a book, showing up, launching that new program, project. You look around on top of this mountain and you realize you are not alone. We're all together. And you notice that there are still some women climbing the mountain, and you throw down your cord. You bring them up with us. And you start hugging all the women around you. And we're all filled because we all did that brave thing. And now we can just sit in the quiet pride of that. With a smile on your face, give yourself a big round of applause. Do a little dance. Gonna do this for another second. Brava. Hot tip to all of you. And now, if anybody has any questions, reflections, anything they want to add, I am going to put us all in, I think, gallery view. I'm going to release our spotlights and we can just be together in circle together. Feel free to unmute yourself if you would like to share anything that's coming to mind, anything that's feeling that still needs to be said. Oh, I think there's still a few on spotlight. And if there's nothing to be said, that's okay. I'm looking at the comments too. It's hard for me to look at the comments at the same time that they're coming in, but I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Thank you for witnessing us. Thank you for creating this space for us to be witnessed. It's nice. I'm seeing all of you for the first time on my screen for real. I'm just looking around the room and being incredibly grateful to all of you. All right. All right. Just gonna sit in the humble quiet of it all. Thank you, everyone, and we'll let you go. We are going to ask if you have bought the book, if you've read the book, if you would leave us a review, take advantage of this opportunity that you're here with us. And let me just grab that link. Amazon reviews really help us continue to get the word out. We have in pre-order sales, we have swept a whole bunch of categories. We're #1 in women's spirituality, personal transformation, and growth. I don't have all the, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 categories. It was really cool. So if you have the book, Amazon reviews just help us get into other people's hands. So thank you for that. Co-authors, stay on the call, if you will. Everybody else, we will release you back into the world. Thank you for being with us today. Hope to see you somewhere else on our spiral path.